Guess what mainstream media is talking about today? James O'Keefe. Guess what they haven't been talking about? What James O'Keefe exposed. Maybe that's what we should talk about.
Well then, I guess we shall.
I want to thank Noble Gold for sponsoring today's video. Most Americans don't own sound money. Sound money is defined by the Constitution as gold and silver. It's been accepted as sound money for over 5,000 years. And even though it's been artificially suppressed by the international banking cartel, it was the best performing investment class for 2022. In that year, the S&P was down 20%, the Dow was down 10%, and Bitcoin was down over 65%. Gold and silver outperformed them all. Open a gold or silver IRA with Noble Gold Investments this month and get this quarter-ounce American Gold Eagle for free with every qualified IRA of $50K or more. With thousands of five-star reviews, there's a lot of happy people who are glad they went with Noble Gold. Check them out with my link in the description and in the pinned comment. Now, back to today's video. All right, we're going to talk about James O'Keefe and Project Veritas and what's going on over there and what Alex Jones is saying about it, what other people are saying about it. But I want to read the official statement from Project Veritas in regard to this. And if you've seen what they're saying about him, it really amounts to nothing criminal, nothing salacious, nothing that's really worth doing what they did to him. And while I understand and see the value of what James O'Keefe and Project Veritas has done, I've also got my criticisms like promoting TPAC, promoting the left versus right paradigm lie, talking about things that probably don't do America a whole lot of good. I've already dealt with that in past videos. That's not what I'm dealing with today. What in the heck is going on with Project Veritas and James O'Keefe? I thought James O'Keefe was Project Veritas, and so did a lot of other people. It says Project Veritas has achieved immense growth and impact during the last 3 years. Like all newsrooms at this stage, the Project Veritas board of directors and management are constantly evaluating what the best path forward is for the organization. The board and management are continuing this internal evaluation to assure our long-term success. Project Veritas will never stop, and we will never let our supporters down. It sounds like you already did. There are 65 plus employees at Project Veritas dedicated to continuing the mission to expose corruption, dishonesty, waste, fraud, and other misconduct in both public and private institutions. To our supporters, we hear you, we care about you, and we will never give up. That was from Project Veritas. Let's just take a look at this right here, because there's a lot of people who replied to Project Veritas. I was one of them, brought to you by Pfizer, because it sounds like it was. Can I get back to Aviva Frey says, can I get back the $250 I donated to Project Veritas last week? That's when James O'Keefe was with them. Vince Langman says, without James O'Keefe, you're dead to me, which is what a lot of people, that's pretty much the thread line that runs in every single message responding to Project Veritas. You've been infiltrated by the deep state, haven't you? Not a question. Luke Radowski replies, Cat Turd says, huge mistake. Unfollowing until you learn not to bite the hand that feeds you. James O'Keefe is Project Veritas. You will fold faster than CNN Plus without James O'Keefe. And these people go, Project Veritas? Who? David Wall says, hey, Project Veritas, return James to his position or watch how quickly you become the next weekly standard. Now, I want to show you what Alex Jones said about him.
But when it comes to execution and literally just incredible coup level stuff against tyranny, James O'Keefe is number one. Number one. I admire him. He is incredible. And he's fearless. And they tried to put him in prison repeatedly. And I'm pissed. Now, I don't want to wreck Project Veritas by attacking him. I'm going to give it some time and watch what happens. But most people bend under pressure, and I think that's what we've got here. I think everybody knows that. We'll see what happens. But I'm calling, once we find out, when the dust settles, we know exactly what's going on. that James O'Keefe constitute a new organization because he is the champion.
He had just got done comparing O'Keefe with himself and Tucker Carlson, saying Tucker Carlson has this massive wide audience and he's waking people up even more than he is doing now. Tucker Carlson's taken that baton, but then he, on the top of the heap for investigative journalism, he puts James O'Keefe. Cat Turd says again, I don't know what's going on internally, but it really doesn't matter. They fold without James O'Keefe. Paul Joseph Watson says Project Veritas is nothing without James O'Keefe. Ridiculous decision. Laura Logan says, but who really ran the Convid operation? It wasn't, you know who, the company that shall not be named. By the way, if you look that up still, if you say this organization, criminal history, they engage in corrupt marketing practices, bribing physicians, and suppressing adverse trial results. That's what Google says. Now, if Google's saying that about you, you must be really, really bad, because you know Google has an incentive to lay cover for this company. It was DOD, big farm guy, were never covered. So when you expose you know who are you really exposing? That is the real reason James O'Keefe is being targeted. And it's kind of strange that on the heels of this masterful piece of muckraking journalism where he actually exposes this employee for this company right here, saying that they're involved in this directed evolution or whatever they called it. Some people call that gain of function, man. You know, I don't know what's going on here. Matt Couch says the timing of James O'Keefe being put on paid leave by Project Veritas after exposing you know who, talking about the mutated you know what, is just a coincidence. By the way, coincidence is the leading cause of today. A lot of people weighing in. Candace Owens, there is no Project Veritas without James O'Keefe. I say this as a donor to the organization, but more importantly as a colleague who watched him pour everything he had into Project Veritas over the years. The money and supporters will follow James. Project Veritas under James O'Keefe exposed CNN's effort to remove Trump, exposed woke indoctrination in our schools, exposed voter, you know what, across America, exposed, you know who's dangerous, you know what, experiments. There is no Project Veritas without James O'Keefe. Everybody's weighing in on this. If you have a big ego, it's hard to play a supporting role for an all-star like James O'Keefe, says Cernovich. Spiro says if Project Veritas removes James O'Keefe, it would devastate Project Veritas. I bet Pfizer, Google, and everyone else they've exposed would like that very much. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. I stand with James O'Keefe. New York Magazine says James O'Keefe, the founder and chairman of Project Veritas, has taken a paid leave from the organization as its board considers whether to remove him from his leadership position, according to current and former employees. And looking on James O'Keefe's Twitter account, the last post was on February 4th, as of the recording to this right here, 6 or 7 days ago. And he hasn't posted anything since. So all silent on the James O'Keefe front. Matt Walsh says, I've read the accusations against James O'Keefe and they're utterly bizarre. They are. If you check it out, look at the Daily Beast. Look what they say. Or New York Magazine. He's not even accused of doing anything salacious or terrible. I agree. Just a bunch of petty, superficial complaints. I stand with James 100%. Project Veritas is nothing without him. Judicial Watch came out in support of him. Let's listen to some more of what Alex Jones said.
I haven't gone around to calling James O'Keefe since I learned this yesterday afternoon. But the statement by the board of Veritas is very troubling. He goes and gets that giant coup, catching the Pfizer executive in all those activities.
Isn't it crazy that, well, no, it's not crazy because we understand what lamestream, CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra Media is and why they're there and what they're doing. But it's still astonishing that probably the story of the decade, the story of the century, broken by Project Veritas and James O'Keefe about this Pfizer guy with guerrilla journalism, true muckraking journalism, exposed this global thing. And CNN is silent. MSNBC is silent. ABC, CBS, they're all silent. They're not saying anything. This is an incredible story that would generate them tons of clicks. Why aren't they talking about it? This is a story that, if spoken out into the public, could literally save millions of lives, and they're silent. But they're not silent about James O'Keefe right now.
They confirm it's a Pfizer executive. All hell breaks loose. The FBI is threatening criminal charges against Veritas, and it looks like they're buckling. And if you want to know how this works, you need to watch JFK, which is all turned out the movie. It's incredible. It's like a documentary, though it's a film by Oliver Stone. I watched it again a few weeks ago. Looks like, it doesn't look like it. I'm very...
Isn't that amazing? Newsweek. Project Veritas suspends James O'Keefe. What we know, what we don't. How about rewinding about 2 weeks? Go back into that cafe where James O'Keefe's Project Veritas people actually exposed the story of the century, and you were silent about it, but you're not going to be silent about this Newsweek. Shame on you guys. Shame on you guys. They don't care about the public. A journalist is supposed to be a public servant. A journalist is supposed to speak truth to power. A journalist is supposed to tell the people what's actually going on instead of obscuring facts, making stuff up, distorting things, weaving a narrative.
Disturbed. And I talked to James here and there on the phone. We've gone out to dinner a few times. I'm going to call him as soon as I get off air today. And he's been relieved. He's been kicked out. He's been put on paid leave, and their statements like, well, we're a bigger group than James O'Keefe. That statement tells you they are removing him, and
they think they are.
It's
according to the things that I've seen, and somebody even put out a poll. There was a poll done somewhere. Yeah, here we go. Look at this. It's got 16,000. This is Matt Couch. Who do you trust, James O'Keefe or the Project Veritas Board of Complainers? James O'Keefe, 98.5%. The board, 1.5%. 5 hours left, and there's 16,369 votes. 16,000 votes, 95% says, I trust James O'Keefe. James O'Keefe is Project Veritas. The board, get rid of him. If that's not failure, if that's not being tone deaf, I don't know what is.
He's been relieved. He's been kicked out. He's been put on paid leave, and their statements like, well, we're a bigger group than James O'Keefe. That statement tells you they are removing him, and it's in direct response to his biggest thing they ever did 2 weeks ago. You see the timing of it. It's very troublesome, and I mean, I'm surprised Veritas is still there. They have committed crimes against the deep state of doing a great job, and with O'Keefe's leadership and their whole team. And I'm sure they're about to indict a bunch of people that work there if they don't do this. And I think they've made the wrong move. I think they'll still get indicted now with all the criminal investigations against them. So I think they blinked in this game of chicken. I mean, at a certain point of chicken, you just got to just jam down the accelerator and say, I'm ready. I'm not turning this car. I'm going. And you know what? The good news is if they want to go ahead politically as an allegory, then we take the enemy out and we go too, and the kids can be safe. I mean, that's what war is, ladies and gentlemen, is you decide, I ain't giving up and I'm not going anywhere. And O'Keefe hasn't given up. And if there's anybody out there that I can compare to us, and I'm not trying to say, oh, I'm so great, it's James O'Keefe and Tucker Carlson. If I've got peers, and I'm not that good, I'm sorry there's not people that have done more. It's James O'Keefe and Tucker Carlson. There's a lot of other amazing people. The Steve Bannons of the world and the Jack Posobics have done incredible jobs. But when the rubber meets the road for just the massive effect on tyranny, battling for liberty, breaking thousands of stories, just fearless, out of the park work over and over again, I think for an execution, Tucker Carlson and James O'Keefe are better than me. In fact, I would see myself behind James O'Keefe and Tucker Carlson. Not in total effect. I think Tucker in total effect and execution is the best. And then for overall effect, I'm a close second. Probably over the years, he hasn't been doing this long. I'm done more than Tucker Carlson because my listeners, what we've done. But so overall, InfoWars is the biggest, the most devastating. We've hit the enemy the most. They know it. They hate us. I mean, we changed the whole world. But that's it because we've been doing it longer. But I'm an old race car driver. And when new guys get on, I see Tucker the last 6-7 years go into high gear and just win all the races. I'm like, well, that he stays on the field. It's like being bird in the NBA, and along comes Michael Jordan. You go, well, I've been the best so far, but Michael Jordan's better. It's kind of like I've been more seasoned, so I can say I've done more. My scoring is higher, but Tucker Carlson's going to be the Michael Jordan if he keeps going. Okay, he'll be the all-time. But when it comes to execution and literally just incredible coup-level stuff against tyranny, James O'Keefe is number one.
So major accolades and kudos from Alex Jones to Tucker Carlson. This right here, this is from Newsweek. Here's what they're saying, and here's what they're capitalizing on. The memo obtained by the Daily Beast alleged that workers were troubled and frustrated by O'Keefe's management style and that he was, quote, outright cruel to staff members. So it's just anecdotal. There's no criminal behavior. There's no real substantial things on the list for them to get him on. And it just sounds like they are being petty. Project Veritas employees said that O'Keefe engages in berating and public crucifixions of staff members. O'Keefe is also alleged to have forced workers to take lie detector tests to prove they weren't leaking information about the company and spat at them, they said. This would be interesting. This will be interesting to see if they have any proof of that. But even if they did, it's still nothing compared to what, say, a Chris Cuomo did while he was with CNN. It's nothing compared to what CNN analyst Jeffrey Lubin Toobin did during that Zoom meeting. James has become a power-drunk tyrant. Let's see. We know some power-drunk tyrants, don't we? He just gave a State of the Union address saying that he was going to criminalize all Americans who have these scary black AR-15 assault-style rifles. One staffer wrote in a memo signed by 16 Project Veritas workers. Well, if there's 65 plus employees and 16 of them signed it, what do the other people say? What do the remainder of the people who didn't sign this say? The memo also, this all sounds so set up, guys. It sounds so set up.
Number one. I admire him.
Alex Jones is in the zone.
He's incredible. And he's fearless. And they tried to put him in prison repeatedly. And I'm pissed. Now, I don't want to wreck Project Veritas by attacking him. I'm going to give it some time and watch what happens. But most people bend under pressure, and I think that's what we've got here. I think everybody knows that. We'll see what happens, but
I don't think James O'Keefe is going to bend under pressure because James O'Keefe clearly has the support of the people. Clearly. I mean, it's not even close. When you've got this, let's refresh this. Let me see how many we got right now. I wish Joe Rogan would put this up. I'd like to see what the votes were, but it's probably going to be similar percentage-wise. Maybe not number-wise, but percentage-wise. This is massive. You got almost 16,500 votes. You got 98.5% saying, hey, we're with James O'Keefe, and 1.5% saying we're with the board. So virtually everybody who understands what's going on with this issue is for James O'Keefe and against the organization called Project Veritas. A lot of people are saying, hey, that organization isn't even Project Veritas. James O'Keefe is Project Veritas. Let me know what you guys think. This looks like a setup. It's so close on the heels of that little Pfizer expose that they did. And it just looks like there's shenanigans at work. Let me know what you think about this. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. It should be working now. It was broken for a long time, apparently. And I will see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.